case clearly showed us that there is major corruption in Arkansas. But could it also be in Indiana? More specifically, in Delphi.
And they were shipping it through UPS in candle wax. It all over Delphi, Kokomo, down to Rushville. See, like, people have always thought I was crazy with this theory. But Tina and I know what Christy was up to and what the involvements were. And even for Derek not to come out and share some of this for 7 years.
Pathologist Dr. Baden came out of the autopsy and said, "This doesn't look like a self-unaliving. It looks more like a perpetrated red rum." Okay? Also in this report, they tested them for all kind of, not just illegal ones, but even sleep medicines and things like that. All 4 girls were negative. So as far as whether they didn't smell the fire because of some other source, the answer is no. You see how the manipulation goes?
Listen, they had Megan Allen's earrings, or they didn't test those. They didn't test all of the body parts of the girls.
And law enforcement is putting us in this position. So if you don't like it, law enforcement, think about who got us to this situation.
Not going to close his case. He said the house looked like there had been a party, and he said, Michelle, that's an evil, he told our family, that's an evil house. That just, there's evil in that house. That's what the coroner told us. So
Wow.
Yeah.
So, don't be telling people where you are and what you're doing. Don't be telling law enforcement stuff, because it's going to come back to bite you.
No, just skull x-rays, but I can't have an MRI. I don't know what I'm going to do, actually. And, I know Milgram definitely was with me because I saw him off and on through all my life, up until I was about 18 years old. But then I think Delgado only came for the surgery.
Not 5 minutes later, Jerry Holman called me, a recovery streamer.
I cannot declare that Richard Allen is totally innocent.
I really had a... So how, you finished your book?
I did. I'll just know, if you ever get a call from jail, you already know what my charge is. Somewhere, somehow, I have been. For some reason.
And there's just so many people that, I want to believe them because they're on the rational side of the argument, and then they'll say something that just...
Well, hello, my silky friends. I just realized I need something across the room. I'm gonna get it in just a second. Look, today's show is going to be a little bit dark. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna be a lot dark. It's a tough one. Okay, so I understand if you, and I will say this: if you are sensitive, I'm just gonna put the trigger warning right here, right now. Trigger warning throughout this whole video. And we're going to preface this by assuming that maybe you are right now where I was 10 years ago, seeing these Epstein files. And if you aren't, then we're going to kind of walk through. This is just the beginning, all right? I'm going to walk through a lot of stuff. And this is going to be maybe I'm going to do some videos. I'm going to try to do a lot live in the evenings. I just happen to be home today because it's President's Day. And who knew that the company that I work for was going to celebrate President's Day? I had no idea. Hold on just a second. I realized I need something important. I'm literally coming right back. Don't go anywhere. I can hear you. Y'all talk amongst yourselves. Everybody tell me, are you at work? Are you at home? What's up? Are you, you have the day off? Put it in the comments. Okay. I need a tissue. Okay. So I'm gonna start by Okay, Scully is usually on my other channel, and he is usually a fun thing, but he kind of goes with the theme for today. So I let him stay up here. Um, I would love to see. I don't see anybody. I see people watching. I don't see any comments. I would love to hear where you're at. Are you home? Are you listening? Where you're from? What's going on? Okay. If you have been, maybe you're just hearing a little bit about the Epstein files, and you haven't. You know that some people were involved, some government officials, some, it's a lot of trafficking, a lot of underage people, but you don't really think it's that bad. Um, then this will be like crazy out there for you. If you're one of those people that the trigger warning, well, actually, you're probably one of the ones the trigger warnings for. Um, but if you're one of the people who have taken a deep dive, and you've listened to a lot of the things that you never imagined, okay? Some of you are out there in shell shock right now. You're walking around having, like, literally wondering how the world is still turning. Like, you're wondering how people are functioning, and you're going through the motions of your job, going to the grocery store, you're going to church, you're trying to just function, and you're wondering how everybody else is doing this. Do they not know what you know? Have they not been watching this? Do they not see what has been uncovered? Or how are they dealing with, like, for some of you who know, your whole world has been turned upside down, and you literally don't know what to do. You are shell shocked. Okay? I remember those days. For me, those days were 10 years ago, at least 2016, if not. I mean, I knew a lot before, but the big revelation started coming in 2016, when I realized that I knew all of these things happened, because y'all know I've talked some about my past. If you know, you know. I'm not going to get into that now. I absolutely knew that people did these things, but there were not terms for it that I knew of. And I did not know it was on such a big scale. So when I realized what was going on, and that it was worldwide, and that it was literally everybody, our government leaders, not just our government, the world government, the celebrities, like, it was everywhere. When I realized that, I felt hopeless and powerless. But unlike now, you couldn't talk about it with anybody, because almost nobody knew. And those of us who did know, we could talk a little bit online, but we were all shell shocked, walking around in a world that we no longer recognized, but nobody else. Like, if you even hinted, I remember even trying to hint to people during 2020 of why you should not trust the people who were telling you what was what, because for 4 or 5 years I already knew how corrupt it was. When I just kept telling people, you have no idea how dark it goes, they would listen so far, and then I had to cut it off, because they just absolutely did not realize what I was trying to say. And I knew, like, okay, I'm going to lose any kind of traction I'm getting with these people now, just because if I start spilling, they're going to write me off as a complete lunatic. And I would understand that, okay? You cannot, and for those of you, I'm just going to pull the bandage off. For those that do not know, in the files, they are talking about, missing children. Of course, the children who are moved from place to place. And I think it's become kind of common knowledge about the trafficking now. But that's not the big thing. It's not even they are consuming, and by consuming, I mean eating children. Not just in sacrificial ways, although a lot of that is going on, as a delicacy. Okay? And that's where we start. The rabbit hole, my dear people, goes way further. But this is what you know. And these are what these elites are into. Not just harming them, but if you've seen some of the blacked out pictures, you know what's missing. Okay? You can figure it out. And so for some of you, you're walking around and you don't even know. You don't even know how bad it is. So let me tell you a few things before we get into some of the stuff. It's very unnerving. Not just the information, because I am going to share some of that with you. I'm not going to show you any graphic pictures, okay? Everything has been redacted enough that it's not that graphic, but it's graphic enough. Again, you see the objects around things, you know what is in there. Hello. If you don't know, this is Sachi. This is my baby girl. But interestingly enough, let me start with just last night, because this is where history is starting to get broken already this quickly. I was on my page. I know, a lot of you have, the upper levels of Chat GPT, whatever. I don't. I use a completely different system. I use Manus. And I have always found Manus to be quite good. So I was asking for this episode, I wanted I was going to do like an intro video of just a synopsis of the Epstein files. So I'm asking my AI, kind of summarize. Let's do a overall, a couple of paragraphs of what has been found in the Epstein files. And so it goes in and it does, this person was named and blah blah blah, and yeah, that's interesting and all. And then it's like, oh, and hey, let me make you an interactive page that you can actually put up on a website or even use in your video. And cool. I didn't even ask it to do that. I just made one. Cool. Awesome. And I'm like, okay, well, that's great. But what about all of the stuff about the children? And I go on to describe what has happened with the children. And my AI says, oh, you want to get into conspiracy theories? Well, there's nothing like really about that. But if you want to get into conspiracy theories, we can talk about. I'm like, excuse me? Excuse me, sir. This is in the DOJ files. This is not conspiracy. This is not made up. So I'm like, you know what? You and I, we're done. Just like a bad relationship, just like a bad man. I'm done with you. Okay? You're lying to me now. You have now lied to me, and we're over. Okay, so I get up this morning and I'm watching YouTube and I'm watching this I don't know, some creator I've never seen before. And he starts talking about the same thing. And he starts talking about actually the Epstein files. Only on his AI chatbot, he says something about he's asking for the Epstein files, kind of the same thing as synopsis, like, tell me about the Epstein files. And his says basically, what do you mean? Epstein, well, I don't know what you're talking about. Epstein files haven't been released. There are no Epstein files. And he's like, excuse me? Mine at least went into detail about political and celebrities. It went into public figures. And so he goes into this whole thing about how AI rewrites what we do, and it's trying to rewrite history even now. Even now, when they say the last bit of the files have come out. Y'all, if you don't know, there are actually millions of millions. If you see, if you go back, and I'm going to say hello to y'all in just a second. If you go back to when they first were talking about this, Lord, I can't even remember. There was, I think they said 11 point something million pieces of whatever, and then it went down to so many million, then 3 point something million, and they're like, okay, la la, all the 3 point something million files have been released. Yeah, well, the thing is there was 11 point something, almost 12 million to start with. So what about those? What happened to those? Yeah, I guess y'all think that we forgot. Roberta says every day is you're retired. Every day is a holiday. I wish I was retired. Hello, Teresa. You are right. Some people still refuse to listen and don't believe it. You know what? I don't even know if I can fault them 100%. I do, but I don't. Nancy Drew, good to see you. Haven't seen you in a hot minute. Of course, I haven't been on here in a hot minute either. Yeah. So, going back to that moment that I was talking about back in 2016, that's why I say that, when I first had my awakening, all the shock and walking around in a daze, and I remember that, just looking around and feeling like I can't live on this planet anymore. Like, I can't do life as usual. I can't go to Walmart. I can't go to the grocery store. I can't look at people. Like, how do it is that kind of shock. Like, I can't do this anymore. Like, how am I expected to act normal? And so, I mean, immediately, I remember I guess it's just survival instinct. I started telling myself it's not real. Like, it can't be. Like, I start telling myself it's not that bad. Like, I know stuff happens, but it's not. This is not this is not real. And I went through literally a few days of telling myself it's not real. It's not real, because my mind couldn't accept. It just couldn't accept that I was living in a world where humans were doing this on a broad scale. But for me, it was only a few days. It was just that buffer for me to get a little bit of relief in my head, and before I, opened my eyes again and said, okay, it's time to come out of fantasy land. I know this is happening. I know it is. I've seen the pictures, because look, there have been leaks, y'all. There have been leaks. There have been videos back at we're talking about 10 years ago, when you didn't have the AI that you have now, and there have been a lot of document leaks. There have been a lot of like police reports and pictures, and there's been a lot of leaks. Okay, back in that at that time that you couldn't refute, and so I would go back and trying to tell myself, look at it again, convince myself it was not real, only to know that it was. And so, it was a process. It's a process for people. I understand when their brain just can't accept. I do. Especially for what I called the normies, people who really haven't even accepted the truth about simple things that, like 9/11. I know people are going to say, whatever, whatever. You'll find out. You'll find out one day. Uh, there's a lot of things that we don't want to accept, but but you'll eventually wake up and you'll realize that things don't add up. And when you open your eyes to one thing, you're like, okay, but these are right here in front of us. So then I realized something else. Okay, so I realized they're trying to change history right in front of our eyes. Um, yes, yes. I mean, it is. It's hard to accept. It really is unbelievable, and I think it's especially, Roberta, unbelievable for us and older generations. Okay, I I do think it's harder because we remember decades of when the world seemed to be good. Does that make sense? Because I feel like millennials and Gen Z especially, I feel like they've always had a very tumultuous. The world has been in a lot of turmoil, a lot of bad stuff. I think it's been like kind of crazy, and I feel like they're easier to accept that these things are real. Um, but for us that remember the good times, growing up and happy times where we had no idea. And I don't know, apparently things have always been going on. But, the earth, our society didn't reflect that at all. I mean, you would never imagine. It just wasn't dark. It was very unusual to hear a dark story somewhere. And life, we had our problems, but life was pretty good, honestly. So that makes it harder, I think, for an older generation to say, to really imagine that things happen. Who's your daddy? Hey, Silky, I can't stay, but I wanted to say hello. Uh, I'd like to talk to you in person. Okay, okay. Well, email me. Email me, Hoosier, and we can make that happen. You can email me at silkyandSouthern um at Gmail, and yeah, we can get in contact. Uh, Nancy Drew. Delphi Dropbox is the mini Midwest Epstein list. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. There's another. And, maybe I think that's why, Nancy Drew, that I have been so drawn to Delphi. Just there's a lot of dark elements, and I was already very awake to the other stuff. So Delphi was just a natural, I guess, a natural darkness. Does that make sense? Um, but yeah. So now here's the other thing. Before we start watching, because I had to move, and even I was a little bit late starting today this broadcast, and y'all know, if you watch me, I'm either early or I am exactly on time, because when it comes to live streams, I am like crazy about being very punctual on this. But look, my whole system has wanted to throw this whole thing up all morning. And it gave me a little bit of trouble on the Valentine's Day thing. And I don't know why I'm having so much trouble with my computer system. It could be because of the stuff that I have been looking up and that I've been saving on my computer. You know, it could be all that. But maybe the powers that be are ticked off at me. Not will not be the first time. I'm uh for sure, probably not the last. But okay, so I noticed. Let me just tell you this, for you to understand how much they don't want this information. Now, y'all know TikTok was owned by the Chinese. And yes, there is a lot of data breach and a lot of data harvesting and all that kind of stuff. And then, Trump wanted it sold to Americans or something like that. Now, let me tell you something about TikTok. I I don't do TikTok a lot. I do put videos up there occasionally, but I don't I'm not on TikTok that much, but I love TikTok because people are so real and so honest about a lot of stuff. And I love to, hey there, Samantha. I love to watch and listen to what they have to say because they're very unfiltered. Sometimes it's like embarrassingly unfiltered. So there's a certain thing when I play videos, and I use it mostly on my spooky channel. When you want to save a video, like I don't want to repost it. I just want to save it in my collection so I can play it for y'all later. I heart it, and then it saves it in a certain spot for me. So I'm going through all these Epstein videos because I'm going to do not a live stream, but just a video about it. And so I go through like maybe 10, 15 videos, and I'm like, okay, I think I've got a big enough collection to do a live stream, whatever. And I go back to find them, and there's none saved, none. And I'm like, what the heck? I don't understand. I've been sitting here for an hour going through videos. And so I just pick a random one, just the next thing that comes up, and I heart it, and I watch as the heart's on there, and then I watch after a couple of seconds, it just disappears. Okay, it just pops right off there. And I'm like, that's interesting. And so I'm like, is my box full? Whatever. So then I go to another random video, has nothing to do with Epstein, just something I'm not even interested in. I heart that one. It stays. No problems with anything that's not Epstein. So then I go back and I try to do another Epstein one and save that one. It won't let me save any of those. So the only thing that I could do is share it to my ex, Silky Southern on X. So I have got all these videos that are over there, which makes them harder to watch. Now, I'm going to tell you this first one, I'm on a trigger warning with just the very first video. All right. She's going through some stuff in the Epstein files right now. Trigger warning. It's not good. And this one actually was on TikTok. Even a video that I had saved this morning is now unplayable. So let's see if this one will play. This one is on my ex, but let me see. Let me hold on just a second. Just for this purpose, let me take the chat box off here. Let me see if this one will play from here. I'm telling you, it's been all kind of crazy.
Epstein's youngest victim, hear me out, was still attached to the umbilical cord. Y'all are not mad enough. Life Touch Photos, who did the photos in JCPenney's and your children's photos in your school, were using your children's photos as a catalog for Epstein to go through. Y'all are not mad enough. Beyonce was found in the Epstein files giving up to 16 of her fetuses for Epstein, and states in one of her songs, 16 carriages, I gave them away while I watched them all get their plate. What the You're joking. What is this life? Y'all are not looking into this deep enough. Go through the files. Go through them. Take the time. Don't sit here and say you know the Epstein files if you did not go through them. Also, the government released these files as PDFs. Did you know that if you change the .pdf to .mov, they're actually movies? They're lying to you, and they redacted people's names and photos that actually were not victims because they're trying to hide shit. But in some of those clips and some of those emails, it shows a small tidbit of the redacted statement or a redacted photo, and ChatGPT will actually read through all of those images and tell you what it says. Do a better job next time. They redacted stuff where like only half of the sentence was covered, and so ChatGPT could literally read it. They talked about cream cheese in several statements, in several emails. What was cream cheese? Some of y'all are saying it's vernix off of a baby. If you don't know what vernix is, it's the stuff that babies...
Okay, let me give you, this is tough for me. Let me give you another trigger warning right here, okay?
They're covered in that white stuff when they come out of their mother's womb. But that's not it. That's disgusting, but that's not it. A little boy came on here and did an interview with someone, I don't know who it was found in the Epstein files, where he talks about going to a party of Epstein's, being tied down while he watches Epstein and whoever the fuck else. He said some names, I don't know who they are, can't remember, and says that they cut these open to gain access to their intestines. And that was where the milk that they drink from their mother stored and curdled like cottage cheese or cream cheese, and they scooped that out and ate that on their bagels. Y'all are not fucking mad enough.
Yeah, we're not mad enough. I agree. We are not mad enough.
And for any of you who believe that Trump had nothing to do with this or was not in the Epstein files at all, you're delusional. His photos are all over. His emails with Jeff are all over. Photos of him with Jeff on the plane are all over. In his home, they're all over. He had underground tunnels dug all the way through his house into the ocean to other islands in the Virgin Islands, where these tunnels were used to transport the children, hear me out, that were going missing in America. Not just in America, 90% of them were in America, but other countries as well. They were transported in shipping containers, brought over to the Virgin Islands, secretly transported under those tunnels to Epstein Island, where they were never seen again. And here's where it gets crazy. Hear me out. All of you guys who had this conspiracy that Wayfair and Walmart had prices at $100,000 for a cabinet or $100,000 for a chair, you had conspiracies because the names of that cabinet would be Rebecca or Tony or little Tommy. And you had conspiracies that these cabinets and chairs were of young children that were being taken. Your conspiracies were right. It came out in the Epstein files. Wayfair is in the Epstein files, and they were selling furniture, $150,000 furniture with the name Little Sarah or whatever, and that was of a child. That was of a child. You're not mad enough. You're not fucking mad enough.
I'm sorry, y'all. But she's right. We're not mad enough. We are not mad enough. we going to get mad enough? What's it going to take for us to get mad enough? I'm sorry, like, that's the first video. I can't even get through it. And I've known for the last 10 years, I've known. But still hearing it is hard. It's hard, y'all. Hello, Goose's Gammy. Okay. Yes, I have heard that he's alive and his death was faked. I actually did a video on that over a year ago. It was an article from his brother, and it was all about how yeah, it was a lot about that. There was a lot about that. And I don't even think many people watched that video, but I have never thought that he was actually that he had actually passed away. I've always thought he was alive somewhere. Hello, Cyber Warrior. Yeah, I'm okay. It's just tough watching watching the Epstein stuff. It's tough. It is tough. Okay, we're gonna try. I'm gonna try to watch some more. I'm gonna probably have to, let's see, go back to let me see if I can go back to this. Let's see if I can play this one.
I do find it ironic that that y'all spent all this time calling Christians crazy, doing too much, for saying that Hollywood was demonic. that a lot of this stuff is inspired by like wicked spiritual, y'all crazy, woo. Just for these Epstein files to drop. And they doing exactly that, worshiping demons, hurting innocents. All that, no, you're in spiritual psychosis. You're crazy. Be quiet. Y'all always want to do too much. Now it's like, oh wow, I can't believe what. No, bro, it's nothing new under the sun. They've been doing this. A lot of y'all's favorite artists, musicians, all of that, they still doing it, bro. No, man.
And this was a repost from Melanie King. I follow her on YouTube. And she says, not a single celebrity is speaking on the Epstein files. Why is that? Yes. Why is that? This is very interesting. Let me see if I can pull this up for you. Because again, these were all TikToks that I had saved, but you can't play them you can't save them on TikTok. Let me see. Let me see if I can make it bigger on here. Let me see what that looks like for y'all. Maybe that's better. Have y'all and I know some of you who know, if you know, you know, that was something else that I knew that was done, knew that was practiced, but I didn't have a name for it, and that is the red stuff. I don't know if I can actually say that on here. It ends in chrome. It's like adrenaline. But yeah. Don't give these people a dime of your money or time. Yes. I agree. Power to the people. I agree. Let me go back to some other things. I wish I could show you some of the TikToks. Let's see. This is a really good one. I hope I don't get a let me tell you. Let me show you this. Can you see it? A lot of people are saying, this is just a conspiracy theory, that Joe Biden was played by Jim Carrey. Interesting. Interesting thought, especially when you see a lot of things where it appears that he is wearing a mask. I'm just saying. No, let me go back to this. I'll play some of this and hope. I'll have to stop it, hoping
Not
that I don't get a
whispers.
strike.
Hard evidence from the files. Babies in fridges. Jerky as code. Rituals that will make your blood run cold. An entire grotesque subculture of trafficking, consumption, and depravity on an industrial scale that has been blown wide open. And at the rotten heart of it for years, according to Epstein files investigators, Ellen DeGeneres, the daytime TV queen who smiled into America's living rooms while allegedly orchestrating horrors in the shadows. They called it conspiracy, they called it rumour. But nightmares like this don't disappear, they get buried. And what's buried long enough starts to rot. Buckle up, we're going deep, and we're not pulling any punches. Before we dive in, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and join the People's Voice Locals community. To join our incredible community, support and Anna Paulina Luna has seen the unredacted.
Okay, so let me read some of this because I'm going to have to break some of it up since he does have, this is TPV Sean, and he does have a big program, so that's sometimes where I have to be careful. But it says that Jeffrey Epstein and his Hollywood elite circle have been exposed as cannibals. Not rumors, not whispers, hard evidence from the files. And at the rotten heart of it for years, according to the Epstein files investigators, Ellen DeGeneres, the daytime TV queen who smiled into America's living rooms while allegedly orchestrating horrors in the shadows.
They called it rumour. But nightmares like this don't disappear, they get buried. And what's buried long enough starts to rot.
Yeah.
Buckle up.
All right,
It's those tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorists. Even though everybody in Hollywood knows the truth. The evidence is undeniable, hiding right there in plain sight. We weren't wrong, we were early. Now, thanks to the Epstein files, the world is finally catching up.
Hope you are feeling better. Did we analyze the jerky? Why didn't we get jerky this week? I also added more to the jerky and ginger lemongrass. Thank you so much. Super cool. Beef jerky, delicious. Jojo is here and we'll walk the jerky over to Jeffrey.
So if you don't know, when they're talking about this, there's like tons of emails with this reference to jerky, and they're like, what is the obsession with, they call it beef jerky, and they're talking about ingredients, can they get it on the plane, and will it be fresh enough? Like, it's beef jerky. Like, it's very bizarre if you read the emails, which I have read some of them, and I'm like, this is crazy. Like, this is not normal cooking, okay? And the ingredients they list wouldn't be something that's like on a timer. It's insane. So you obviously know that they're talking about something else, and a lot of it decoded. They are the assumption is it's people, children, babies, whatever is the time, and the beef jerky, and it's all about these other people fixing the jerky for other people, and especially Jeffrey likes his jerky and how much of it, and they've got bags of it. It's just the insanity of it all. It's like it at one point it talks about he is coming off of his diet of something else and he will be eating jerky again. I mean, it's like, what are y'all talking about? But yeah, so that is the reference here.
Will walk the jerky over to Jeffrey. Why would jerky walk around? Why would it do that? Delicious lunch, beef jerky. Steve and I are very grateful above all for your friendship. Some of these emails are so wholesome, aren't they? It's too bad they eat kids. A small insulated bag would be fine. I don't remember checking it. No need for crazy amounts of ice. One should do. There is one bag of beef jerky in the fridge. Please get it. Also, Blank has more at her place. Please get it from her as well. I suppose it needs to be in a cold, insulated bag. Just wanted to touch base about jerky. JE said he was going to start eating regular food again, so he might be eating less jerky. He said he has 6 bags of it in a downstairs freezer. Why would you freeze jerky? Steve needs a 6 to 8 ounce portion of jerky. I gave you all the jerky we had, and it lasted only half the amount of time it was meant to. I felt like it was more important for you to have the jerky to eat during my time off. My plan is to make a batch before I leave for LSJ, and some of that will go to Steve, and the rest will go to you at LSJ when I arrive. Little St. James Island. That's what LSJ must mean. So logically, that means that they were doing this off of the island. Steve Hansen is sending jerky to your attention overnight. I believe it should be enough to get him through. Jeffrey Epstein is asking to bring him more jerky. I'm flying in on Friday. I will bring jerky. Is there a time I could come say hi and drop off the beef jerky? And that's from...
I mean, enough to get you through. So some people are saying that this is kids, and other people are saying that it is that word, adreno, not Lynn, but Chrome. I don't know if I can say the whole thing on here, but if you don't know what that is, it is naturally, and I will say this I know to be 100% true. In rituals, it is done. It is like the power. When you are doing a blood ritual, I'm not supposed to say that word either, but anyway, when you're doing a sacrifice or whatever, you want to get the fear level up high in the victim, because that is what infuses the red stuff. Okay. And it gives you a more powerful whatever. High. It's more powerful to consume it. And so that is, for y'all that don't know, that is the point of the torment. Let me put it more gently, of the victims, of the kids, of whatever, is to the adrenaline is produced by the I can't even think. I know, but the gland that looks like a walnut. I'm having a brain cramp. Anyway, that is where it comes from. Okay, so they, I've heard. I know that there's a synthetic medical adrenochrome, like because I was talking to someone, and I was trying to kind of say something about that, but obviously she had never heard of such a thing, and so I just dropped the subject. But yeah, there is a synthetic kind, but then there is also, like, I guess they bottle it, whatever, they make it. I don't know. So it has been supposed, and kind of like with the legend of the vampirism and stuff like that, over centuries, that drinking the red stuff will make you young, keep you young. A lot of vampire movies and stuff have alluded to that. But apparently, according to, stuff that has been said for many years, that the Hollywood elite drink this stuff to stay younger, or to appear to be younger, much, years younger than they actually are. And that when they start to look older, like especially during 2020 when everybody was in lockdown and movement was very difficult. If you remember, there was a time in 2020 that everybody started to look really rough in Hollywood, if you'll remember that. And they, on the down low, people were saying on the underground that it's because they couldn't get their supply. And then all of a sudden, things got better and people started looking okay again. And, a lot of people move sometimes out of the country, whatever, and they start looking really rugged and people are like, okay, they can't get their stuff. So because of all of that, people have wondered if because of the supply and the stuff, the urgency, all right, of getting this to Jeffrey and everybody is it wasn't actually even the eating of flesh, but it might have actually been this substance that they were talking about. So I don't know. I believe it was one or the other for sure.
From Jeffrey Epstein. Francis has time to come tomorrow. Show me how to make it. Jerky class anyone. He will bring you to taste his new jerky recipe from the restaurant. He sends a warm hello. He's working at a restaurant called guys, the restaurant's called Cannibal and Cooks. Wait for it. Beef jerky and steak.
We've been sounding the alarm about this restaurant for years, warning everybody who would listen that something truly horrific is going on behind closed doors.
I'm going to stop this for just a second to answer this question because I don't know if it's because the wealthy Chinese, honestly, I mean, maybe. I mean, everybody in the world is involved in this, but it seemed like even with the Chinese being, a communist country and everything being so controlled, honestly, things didn't get this bad until it was sold. And I was just looking through the list. You saw me scrolling on my X. Look, there's a ton of videos. Like, I thought I had tons of videos to show y'all because I forwarded them all from X. Look, they're down from X. They are down from X. I don't have a ton of videos on there. I'm at a loss. Like, where did they go? Like, yeah, people are getting. So the first video I showed you, I'm really shocked that one is still up. Let's see, Winter Woman. Hello, Winter Woman. I believe he is alive also. There's a young lady mortician who has a YouTube channel. I saw that. I actually saw that video the other day, Winter Woman. She said the marks and pulling doesn't make sense. Yeah. Yeah, that article that I did on that thing, also, I think it says that as well. Let's see. Yeah, Roberta, they did reference the same way with the pizza, but they definitely meant different stuff. So, yeah. All right. I'll listen to a little bit more of this.
And what happened? The usual suspects stepped in. Snopes, all the big fact checkers, they rushed to debunk our reporting. They flat out declared that the elite do not consume human flesh, and that no such restaurant even exists. How inconvenient for them that is listed right there in the Epstein files.
And they're talking about the cannibal restaurant. Look, that was, gosh, I don't even think it was called that. There was a restaurant. I heard about that. It was around 2016, 2017. Can't remember. I want to tell you it was in California because somebody told me about it and I'm like, nuh-uh. Like, how could that be legal? But honest to God, there was, and it was, it closed maybe a year or less after I saw the website, but it literally was a cannibal restaurant and you had to have reservations and it talked about the different meats, and it was talking about it was ethical because people were volunteers. Like, people volunteered their flesh for this restaurant. It was insane. It was literally insane. There were reviews. Um, it was the craziest thing. And I really kind of thought it was a parody. I really thought when somebody showed it to me, I was like, no, this is a fake. Like this. And I did a lot of research on that. And from what I could tell, it did appear to be a real restaurant. But I think after people really started like knowing it was there, I think they did close down. But it was insane, y'all. Insane.
Record. Confirmed restaurant guests include Chelsea and Hillary Clinton, Meryl Streep, Don Lemon, and Justin Trudeau's new partner, Katy Perry. And that was just the week we had an inside source providing details. Mexican model Gabriela Rico Jimenez wasn't crazy. She wasn't making it up. Back in 2009, this 21-year-old broke down in hysterics right outside a luxury hotel, screaming the unthinkable. She had just witnessed VIPs consuming human flesh.
Remember that? You remember when this video came out?
The depravity of the elite truly knows no bounds. What we've seen exposed with Jeffrey Epstein and his inner circle, the trafficking, the abuse, the sheer evil, feels almost tame when you start peeling back the layers.
Yeah. That is insane. And I'm not going to play any more of that, I don't think, because I'm afraid I'll get a strike. Let's see. Well, we might do some. Let's see. That's from Netflix. I can't play that. Okay. But yeah, a lot of stuff, y'all. When I tell you I had so many videos, there was so much. Let's see. All of the ones that, so this is back in January, and I literally did this like 2 days ago. All the ones from TikTok, that's the only one. See, this is February 12th. That's the day that I did all this stuff. This video right here, I tried to play it. It wouldn't play. Let's see if this one will play. So yeah, there was a lot more to Epstein Island than you think. Let me see if I can get rid of that. Oh yeah. Let's see if I can share this with y'all. Y'all probably, I'm assuming, know. Let me see if I can make this bigger. Who this is. Hold on. Well, you know who that is. That's me. Oh, okay. If you ever hear This is interesting. If you ever hear Follow the White Rabbit, actually, there's a creator, Follow the White Rabbit. But if you hear it, adrenochrome is known as the White Rabbit, and this is why, because of the structure. And was always curious why they were bunnies. Yeah. Um. All right. Um. I threw this one up here just so no one would forget. If you didn't know, Oprah Winfrey, considered cult leader, John of God, a BFF. Um, he was also into global child trafficking. He also sold babies on the black market to the highest bidders. Are y'all seeing that? I'm gonna make sure you're seeing that. Okay. He used them. He was as breeding stock. You remember John of God? That she always thought he was. Yeah, whatever. Like, look, that was a hard one for me. I've read so many things about Oprah as an adult and in these past 10 years, which makes me very sad because honestly, as a young adult, as a teenager and a young adult, I admired Oprah so much. I really did. Uh, I thought honestly, I had a little bit of Mandela effect with her. I was watching her timeline of Rise to Power the other day. I don't even know. I was watching something about her. I don't remember it that way. But anyway, I thought it was so cool when I was when I was a teenager to watch her rise to power. I thought it was so cool. Uh, she seemed to care. She was so articulate, and I thought it was a great thing for a young black woman to to be so powerful and to be in such a position. I thought it was like really advancing, you know, everybody in unity, and I was all for that. And now, did you know? I had no idea. I thought she'd gone to college, gotten her degree. Did y'all know? According to this documentary that I watched the other day, and I can't remember if it was on HBO or somewhere, Oprah was 19 years old when she was anchoring the news in Chicago. That's a huge city. 19. She didn't have time to get a degree. 19. What connections? Like, she was a poor little girl. Like, according to her story, she was like, how did she and then from there she went, oh no, not in Chicago. She was in I can't remember. I can't remember what city. Nashville. That's where it was. Nashville. She was anchoring in Nashville. And then all of a sudden she was hosting a daytime. They liked her. She was like, "Oh, wow, 19-year-old girl from Nashville. She's so cool," which she was. And all of a sudden they put her as a daytime a morning show in Chicago, which is huge. And then all of a sudden she was syndicated. Like, does that not seem odd to y'all? It seemed really odd to me for somebody who was that young to all of a sudden rise in ranks. Like, I feel like you knew somebody. I feel like something. That just doesn't seem like it happens to normal people, especially, and I hate to say it because, especially back in the 80s, I feel like racism was way more um, pronounced than it is now. And, you know, I was all for it. I thought she was absolutely wonderful. Now I watch things like this and I'm like, and I watch her story and I'm like, yeah, I think something was going on. Who was she involved with that she got, you know? elevated so quickly and so young in life. Then you could find out of all of this stuff, um, and all of the stuff that happened in her. Remember when she did all that stuff over in Africa, and all like, okay, you can't control what happens when you're not there and your employees, but still. There's just too many things, and I'm like, it's heartbreaking to me because when I tell you I really admired her, I really, really did for the longest time, and I'm very sad to say that I, no longer do, and I'm very sad that it seems that she's involved in a lot of bad stuff. This is one of them. Okay, John of God. All into the baby trafficking, baby farms. She said he was one of her favorite people on the planet. Here he goes. It makes you wonder about the all girls academy she founded in South Africa. I mean, you have to wonder. You do. Oh, okay. Right. This is a horrible one. Okay. Let's
from a container from that particular ship.
Pounding and beating on the walls of that trailer, trying to get out.
And if you can imagine the heat, no air conditioning.
Now this is about, let me remind you what they were saying about the traffic containers. The containers. Remember what the lady was saying before? Here's your daddy. Yes, Silky and Southern at Gmail. Silky and Southern. Sorry I missed that. That was a long time ago. Sorry about that. If you're still listening, Hoosier. But yeah. So let's listen to this, because remember in that first video, was the first video they were talking about hearing the kids or the people in the containers. That was what? That was several years ago. Whatever happened? And I always wondered, whatever happened with that? Why is nobody talking about the containers? I think about it all the time, about the traffic containers. Let's see what y'all are saying. Let's see. Hey, Four Pits. Don't trigger you. Smoky Mountain, the movie Fresh. I didn't see that one. I didn't. Smoky Mountain Robin, I did not see that one. I don't know what that's about. Put it in the comments. I know what Soylent Green's about. I think we're living that one out right now, unfortunately. All right. So, but here is and here's the thing. Oh, you don't even want to get me started about, I've been watching a lot of the congressional hearings and stuff lately. First of all, if y'all haven't watched some of the government stuff, it is quite entertaining. You have no idea how entertaining this crap can be. But anyway, let's go on and listen to this stuff on the containers.
Think for a moment of what it must have been like for those 39 people, obviously in a desperate and dangerous situation, for their lives to end, suffocated to death in a container.
Found the trailers with a body outside and several that they could visibly see inside once the doors were opened.
35 patients were found in the container when we first arrived.
You don't end up with 35 people in a container for no reason.
So we sent the truck out to pick up the container.
Sorry, pulling it up. It was so heavy.
Okay, that background music might get me. Let me, since it's got the words on there, let me, I'm going to turn the sound off. I hate to do that to y'all. Oh my gosh. Are y'all reading the same thing? About, okay, it said that there were little babies, arms and legs. just torn off in those containers. Police say they found 39 bodies in a shipping container. But okay.
Ask for no reason. Listen, this is real. This has been happening, okay? This isn't a political thing. Okay, this is a very important topic that you simply need to know about. So as you're living your daily life, you can keep your ears open, because this happens every day, not just in containers, but in your suburbs, in the churches, in Freemason halls.
Did you hear that? In the churches. He's about to say the Freemason halls, which does not surprise me. But think about it, y'all. Where would be the last place you would think it would happen? Right? Come on. Get your head out of your behinds.
Halls, which Freemasons are everywhere. Freemasonry is full.
Oh yeah, they're gonna love this one.
Full of pedophiles, and Freemasons are everywhere. You gotta believe Allie and people like Allie who say the craziest shit, because I have tried to vet her for 5 years. And while you can't directly easily do it, over 5 years, you'll run into enough evidence that you'll know she's telling the truth. Here's some of it.
The time he locked me in container.
Yeah. And this has got some background music that I probably can't. But if you've listened to Allie Carter, I have, which I don't know, how much of that came out in the Diddy stuff. But definitely I've listened to her. Now this says Will Smith's VMAs 1997. Wait till you see who's behind him. Is that Epstein?
About being famous.
No.
You know, I guess when people like you, it just gives you good self-esteem when people appreciate your music. Oh, well, you hear that? That means things are starting. Huh? Why won't get the Million Man Boys? I was.
What are they talking about?
Are you worried? Why not? Why doesn't every star in Hollywood don't get first by married actors? Huh?
Do y'all see anything?
Oh, well, you know, I'm just working hard.
I'm trying not to get a strike here. I'm beyond. It's probably going to be demonetized, but I'm beyond that. I just don't want to get a strike.
Oh, well, you know, this Men in Black was huge, and people really enjoyed it, and I had the music with it. It just feels good to have everything come together like that.
Did you notice what Kendrick has been trying to tell us all this time? Remember the shipping containers? Videos of containers that were actually used to traffic people. The fact that Kendrick has put so much emphasis on this part in his music videos is very interesting, especially considering that his main criticism towards Drake was the accusation of being a trafficker.
Did y'all know that?
Now, you want to know something even crazier? This is Diddy's resort called Star Island. A lot of the wild parties and events took place here. Well, guess what? If you look in the distance, you can see the ports. The same ports that people have been protesting against. Yes, those ports. How ironic is it that Diddy chose to have a special resort for his parties right in...
Y'all remember? They explained it away. It was about a year and a half ago when out by the shipping containers, there was a big sign in rocks or sand or something that said help. And everybody on the internet was like, I don't know how they first found it. Somebody was Googling, doing Google Earth or something, and they saw this big help down there. And they were like, it was a big thing. Remember when it was a big thing? And everybody on TikTok and stuff was like, okay, wait a second. There's a help in the sand or in the rocks by the shipping containers. What's going on? And it took forever. right? People were calling the police and saying whatever, and it took forever for somebody to investigate, but then they did. They're like, "Oh, huh, we found out it was just some kids playing." It was like, they gave some kind of lame excuse. It was nothing. And I mean, I always wondered. I mean, it could have been, but I always wondered, was it? But was it? But was it really? Because it was out there by the shipping containers. Like, is that where your kids go play? I mean, maybe. But I had to wonder because of all the accusations of people and all the people who have sworn they've heard people and kids in shipping containers, and then really you're going to see help, and then you're going to say, oh, it's nothing. I don't what are the chances, right?
In front of these ports, Kendrick knew a lot more than we realized. Maybe that's what some of his other attacks were hinting at. He may even be involved in the case. Who knows?
Okay, let me turn the sound down on this one. Okay, to anyone who thought Allie Carter was lying, she's in the Run This Town music video. They allegedly filmed this video in the tunnels. If you don't know about the tunnels, let's see. She's going to explain it.
She not lying. We used to skip in the tunnels in my school. And it's crazy because only a select few people knew about it. And if you went down there without the right person, you would get lost forever. So there was an entryway through the basement, and I don't know who found it first, but it was like only the people who could keep a secret knew about it. So we were skipping in the tunnels, and it just so happened that my brother and his dummy friends were down there, and they like the tunnels come up in different parts of the city, like the depend on how long you walk. So my brother and his friends had got caught, and the police were called. But it's weird because there was never like a official police report. And then after, the police were never looking for them, but found me and my friend. And then when they told our parents, they never mentioned the tunnels at all. They said that they caught us skipping outside the school grounds. And we didn't tell because why would the fuck would I tell my mom that I was in the tunnels with a boy? So I didn't tell, the police didn't tell, the school didn't tell. Nobody ever mentioned the tunnels. And then the basement where the entryway was like blocked off for us. But like, it just dawned on me, like, I never said anything because I don't want to get in trouble. But like, what the fuck were the tunnels there for?
I know that Allie Carter isn't lying about the underground tunnels in schools, and I'm gonna tell you why. I just recorded this video and I realized that I didn't use the terminology the correct way for TikTok, so I had to re-record this. Okay, so let's get into it. When I was in junior high school in Queens, New York, I went to a school called RFK Jr., Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And it was in Queens, New York. I had a group of friends who loved spooky things. We had just recently found out from I think she was the school counselor. I think so. Yeah, she was a school counselor. I can't remember her name. But she had told us a story about a girl in the 80s who had been unalived and raped in our school locker room. In our school locker room. So, of course, we're like, whoa, right? Like, we're finding this out. We use that locker room every day for PE. So we were like, so my friends took it upon themselves. They had the brilliant idea of bringing over a Ouija board and wanting to summon stuff. I wasn't about it. I didn't even know what a Ouija board was. They had to explain to me what it was, and I did not like what they told me. Anyways, fast forward, we change in the girls' locker room. We go to PE. We go back to change. And there was a door in the back of the girls' locker room to the right that was on the ground. It was more like a sturdy metal, just a platform, I guess. And it had a handle on it. And we used to always mess with it. We'd be like, oh, let's see We could open it today, you know, like mess with it all the time. And we do PE, we go back to change, back into our regular clothing, and it's wide open. And I used to change in the second row to the left. I remember always going left. That's all I remember. And a lot of the girls used to change in that row where the door was. And one of the girls goes, "The door's open." So, of course, we're all in the middle of changing. I'm probably finishing up changing. We run to the back. It's open. And there's light emanating from below it. And, of course, girls start jumping down the hole. And I'm scared. I'm like, I'm not doing that. But I look. Tunnels. Tunnels in each direction. And they ran down and they were screaming and they were running back. And I was like, y'all should probably get back up here. I thought it was extra weird because of the events that I knew that had taken place back in the 80s that we had just learned about. Didn't like it. Didn't like how my body felt. So I stood back. I stood back and I observed them and I kind of held space. I thought it was weird because you can see when someone enters the locker room and there was no other way to enter or exit other than going through the gymnasium. So whoever opened it from inside the locker room while we were in PE. All this to say, there are tunnels underground schools. I saw them with my own eyes. We never questioned it again. We didn't ask anyone. We didn't ask teachers. We didn't ask the coach. We didn't ask anyone. We were just like, whoa, that was so cool. That was so weird. Why is that there? And we didn't think anything further of it. And now this girl is telling us that that's how they sex traffic kids. Man.
As cheesy, as corny as it may sound, I've dedicated the rest of my life to exposing this. I'm 5 years in, very successful with what I've gathered. I am not allowed on YouTube. Seriously, none of my stuff is. Not allowed on Facebook. If you want my material, just go to thedisclosurehub.com. There's some there. I've got a lot on my Rumble, and I have all of it on Telegram and multiple archives, all for free. That's my big thing, is I never charge for my information. It's all free for you, so you could learn.
Now, what did he
Check
say?
out.
I want to see what he's saying.
Seriously, none of my stuff is. Not allowed on Facebook. If you want my material, just go to thedisclosurehub.com. There's some there.
What exposure.com? Dub? What did he say? Dubexposure.com? That sounds stupid. Am I not hearing it? I'm going to do it again. Y'all, somebody put in the comments what I'm not hearing. Or theexposure.com? The exposure? This says the disclosure hub.com. Is that him? The disclosure hub? That doesn't sound like what he's saying. The disclosure. Y'all, am I tripping? Do I need miracle ear? Maybe I do. What is he saying?
I've got a lot on my Rumble, and I have all of it on Telegram and multiple archives, all for free. That's my big thing, is I never charge for my information. It's all free for you, so you could learn. Check out the information. I don't even need your email. Just look at it. Go now. That's there. I've got a lot there. None of my stuff is. Not allowed on Facebook.
Okay.
If you want my material, just go to thedisclosurehub.com. There's some there. I've got a lot of my.
Okay, I don't know. He's saying the disclosurehub.com. Okay, I got it. The. Sounds like he's saying dub. The disclosurehub.com. And he is on Rumble and Telegram. Okay, he said he's got all his stuff there for free. Guess what? I wonder if he's going to be more allowed on that stuff now that the Epstein files are coming out. I don't know. I will tell you this. Rumble is a good place to B, although sometimes people even get censored on there. I've seen some people get censored. I don't really know why. I thought we had freedom of speech. Silly me. Silly me. Yeah. Here you go. Adrenochrome. Here's what I was trying to tell you.
Hello everyone, this is Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai. What I'm going to share with you today is a architecture for looking at adrenochrome. You're going to get from an MIT PhD in biological engineering. I'm going to arm you now with some chemistry. So listen very carefully. Adrenochrome, what is it? So adrenochrome is a stable oxidation product of adrenaline. That's what an in vitro study showed. The chemical structure, you notice, is very different. Adrenaline looked like this. It had this benzene ring with the OH. Adrenochrome looks like this. You notice this benzene ring is folded on itself and you get this. Now, this is what I want everyone to focus on. You may want to take notes. You're welcome to take a screenshot of this. So the question I started asking is, could I understand this in the context of the observations people have been reporting? That they're taking a child, frightening it, which means adrenaline, and then putting it under such stress that it creates adrenochrome. Because as I understand, and the people who know more about this than I do, is that the adrenochrome is being created by taking these kids, scaring them, fight or flight, and then torturing them. And that puts the body into a state that they create adrenochrome. So I wanted to actually explain this. And I believe I have probably the first explanation of how this is going on at the molecular systems level. You won't get this, by the way, from Joe Kennedy or Robbie Kennedy or Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton may actually know about this. What's going on here? Adrenaline. When we did our systems analysis of the research, adrenaline is released in response to a stressful, exciting, dangerous, or threatening situation. So here is the bobcat chasing that mouse. It hasn't caught him yet, but it's chasing it. This is when that mouse, let's say, I don't know what they're potentially doing to these kids, if they're scaring those kids and chasing them around, scaring the hell out of them, it's like the bobcat chasing the mice. And this starts producing adrenaline. It's increased synthesis of adrenaline. And there's enough paper saying adrenaline responds to stress. So we know under that kind of stress, adrenaline is created. Now, what I found fascinating as I did research since people wrote to me is that oxidative stress, which is different than this kind of stress, is highly correlated with anxiety. Anxiety causes an accumulation of reactive oxygen species such as O2 minus. So this was one paper that came out which says oxidative stress and anxiety. This was a role of oxidative stress and anxiety disorder. So let me tell you what this is like. To put it simply, you need stress and anxiety to create adrenochrome. If you're going to do this to an animal, be it a child or lab rat, you have to put it under extreme stress and anxiety. And that's what we're talking about. With just stress, you don't get it. You got to have both. So this is what I would call extreme torture. Because if you just have stress, you're not going to get adrenochrome. You have to have the stress and the anxiety. Everyone getting this? Everyone clear on this? So this is the example I like.
Okay. So I'm not going to play the rest of that, but that's exactly what I was trying to tell you. Let's see. I'm trying to see. Oh, let's see about this. If y'all have, okay, let's talk about this. I'm trying to remember. It looks like a lot of the stuff that I reposted is actually gone, even from last night. Some of the stuff I reposted is gone. But if y'all remember Anthony Weiner's laptop, you know, he had a life insurance file. And this is when Hillary Clinton. Now let me just explain to you something. I am now neither Democrat nor Republican. I think they're all monsters. I do. I think every one of them are monsters. I think we need to toss them all out and start over. I don't believe either side is innocent, no matter what they say. I think they are all 100% guilty. And I think they have us fighting each other so that we don't unite and toss them out. That is what I believe. 100%. I'm a disgusted kin, not Democrat, not Republican. I'm a disgusted cat. Yeah. Ugh. I'm over it. I'm over them, all of them. Anyway, But if you remember, there was a video. Well, you probably don't remember because you probably never heard of it. If you haven't heard of all this stuff in the Epstein files, this will be new to you. But there is a file. I'm not going to get too graphic because it's really, really bad. And I don't think this one was true, but there was a video clip that didn't really show anything, but you could hear stuff. Supposedly, it was audio, a little bit of audio of what was on the video, and it was horrific. It was very horrific. And it was a video that they refer to as frazzle drip. And I hope I don't get in trouble for even saying that, but that's what they called it because it was a supposedly, allegedly, okay? Allegedly, it was involving Hillary and Uma Abedin and a child. And I'm not going to give you the details. It was really, really, really bad. Horribly bad. And this says out of the 12 police officers that viewed that insurance file and particularly that video, 9 of them have unalived themselves. It's been said many times that, New York police officers have seen it all. They've conditioned to taking high levels of stress. But I heard that several of them had to go outside and puke when they saw the video because it was so bad. I just think it's interesting. Now, I would even say this. If back at that time they realized what kind of world we live in, I mean, maybe they did. How could you stay in a job to defend a system as corrupt as that? I kind of get it. Now, you remember I did a live stream with Adrian. It's been quite a few months ago. We were talking about harvesting organs, but listen to this. This is insane.
And ultimately kidnap them. The organs are being harvested in veterinary clinics throughout a rural town in the state of Quintana Roo in Mexico. And he explained that once the victim is brought in, it's actually a surgeon that is used, a Mexican surgeon that's used to extract the organs at this veterinary clinic. And I asked, I said, well, what would you do with those that have had their organs harvested and are no longer alive? And he explained that they used to use acid in barrels, but today they discard the remains in barrels where they fill it with used car oil and fuel. And he said that it burns so hot that it disintegrates any remains of the victim. And I asked, well, how many of these victims have you seen, placed in these barrels? And he said, too many to count. So, and he's 25 years old. So this is the lifestyle that he's been raised in. It's important to note all of our research has indicated organ trafficking in Mexico, Central America, and South America. We have not come.
Okay, I'm not going to watch all of this. You can find this on my X. It is still there as of right now. But this was just a video that I had saved about organ trafficking. And, a lot of it has to do with, again, illegal people coming and going. And this is not to get into the debate. Look, I think everything is wrong about the way that people are being brought into the country and removed from the country. It's all wrong, okay? It's all horrible. But I have to think that part of the reason that we have all of the coming and going is just for this reason, because you see how they're saying we don't have people tracked either coming in or going out. Like, we really don't know who these people are, and then we're taking children and they're being taken to veterinary hospitals and being harvested, like their organs being harvested. I mean, this is insanity, y'all. Do you understand why there's so much problem? Um, there's so much problems with this. And then I'm going to end this episode with this. If you don't know who this woman is, Marina Abramovic, uh, she is the spirit cooking woman. She's just disgusting. I'm just going to tell you. She's disgusting. If you have never seen anything, the parties, all of her stuff, you can look her up. It's just she was involved in Pizzagate. But there is now a documentary. Mike Smith is called Out of the Shadows, and it talks about her. She is a cannibal, and she does spirit cooking. Which, look, she had people, and this was just like at a party. Now, this person that it was in the tank was not actually deceased, but she had somebody in a tank of chocolate, and it was supposed to. It was performative art, supposed to be uh, or seemed to be deceased while people ate around her. They also had people on tables that were, the bodies were cake, but it was made to look like a naked human while there was actually a human under there. But that was during the actual party. And then, people would slice into them. But what happened at the after party? Like, there's a whole lot to that. I'm just saying, there's a whole lot to that. Um, and her stuff was just completely disgusting. Now she's crying because she's no longer able to walk down the street because people are disgusted after watching this documentary about all of her actual cannibalism and stuff like that. So when I subscribe to Liz Crokin, so I do watch a lot of that. Now, my question is, this is the big thing. So here I am, wanted to say, spinster, hello. I have been watching your comments. Um, let's see. Let's see. Who's your certain people and groups pay a high price for this? Yes, absolutely. Let's see. YouTube, Andy. Hello, greetings from Germany. Do you dig in the files yourself or you just do reactions? I am digging in the files myself, Andy. But this is just kind of my intro, okay? Because I just kind of wanted to catch people up to where we're going. Um the files are so large. They're so large. And I kind of wanted to bring people up to where I've what has been found, address at the very beginning of this, address how people might be feeling if they've heard. I am going to be going into, I look at a lot of stuff, but a lot of the things are, you don't know. I mean, it's pictures. A lot of the pictures are just around Epstein's Island. There's a lot of emails. By the way, if you are interested in looking at the emails, there are some places. The best one is somebody has compiled his emails. It's Jmail, not Gmail, Jmail dot. Is it Gmail dot. I have to look at. Hold on, I'll tell you. Let me give you. Even though I'm mad at Manus right now, let me ask him where that is. I'm gonna tell you. Even though we're fighting. Gmail dot, because I don't think it's .com, but maybe. Come on now. Jmail.world. See, I knew it was something different. Jmail.world. Now you can go into that and you can actually search it, put in a name, or you can put in something. To me, it does help. It does help. A lot of things, um, if you're wanting some, like it does help to find some things. Um, to me, it's not as, I don't know. It's kind of like the jerky thing. You still don't know a lot about what they're talking about. But you can even put in a word like evil. You don't even have to put in a person's word, but then it kind of breaks it down. Like, do you want um, locations, stuff like that. Now, there is another one called, there's a GitHub one. I don't want the bombshells. I'm telling you, I have not been really this disappointed in something in a while. All right, so jmail.world, and then you've got epstein-docs.github.io. Okay. So the whole thing is https colon the 2 forward slashes like you do for everything. epstein-docs.github.io. Okay. I should have had that ready for y'all. You can look through there. This is beside going to the just the DOJ. You can find some stuff there, and again, it has it in categories, and it does have some updates like the different drops, like the newest stuff, and um, it is exhausting though. Um, let's see, there's a visual guide. There is Al Jazeera. You can go to www.aljazeera.com news 2026, and you can look up Epstein Files visual guide. It does help some. Now the official one is https www.justice.gov/Epstein. Now, you will see 3.5 million pages. Let's see. I mean, you can. All I can say is good luck. Good luck. It's a lot. It is a lot. That's why I like to pull some things because you know, you can be looking at stuff. And I've seen a lot of stuff that people pull, and I mean, you just don't know. You have to open it, right? So it's good if you can find some stuff that people have already put into categories. Now there is couriernewsroom.com/news, and it's got a searchable database. I'm going to probably put all these. I'll tell you what I'll do. Next time I'll try to put all of these other things. There is an FBI vault. I'll try to put all the flight logs. I'll try to put all this stuff in a PDF maybe and put it somewhere where you can at least put it on a page where you can look at it. Maybe put it where on a community page or something where you can download it. What about that? Something if you want to go through this yourself. It is a lot. It is a lot, but I want to keep looking at it. But that was the reason that I wanted to kind of catch up and let's establish. All right. The truth is, with all these pages, we're going to be looking at this for a long time, but already people have seen the really bad stuff that I really had no idea was going to be in there. I didn't know that they would redact all of that. And then, of course, if you have seen some people, they've told you, like the first woman who said you can download like the PDF and then change it to a .mov, and there are different ways that you can view it. Some people say there are other ways that you can find the get some of the redacted stuff off of there. Insane. Um, I haven't tried any of those yet, but I just kind of wanted to get you prepared for what we're going to be looking at, what we might find, and to let you know that if you're feeling shell shocked, this will pass. But here's the kind of thing that I don't want you to. Okay, let me answer this question. Who is Manus? Manus is my AI chatbot. I don't use ChatGPT. I pay for Manus, and I liked Manus until last night, and then I got mad at Manus, and I don't think we're gonna do this. I had heard a good 8 years ago about consuming infants, and I dismissed it because I thought it just sounded unbelievable, and I think a lot of people did, and now here it is in our faces, and we can't get rid of it. And so now what do we do about it? Well, here's the thing. I feel like the very first video that just tore me up, and sorry for my breakdown. Probably should have saved it till the last. A lot of the videos I was going to show are gone already. Just put them up there, like maybe a day ago, and they're gone, taken down. I assume by X. But because I commented, now some of them I commented on, like on X, and then some of them I didn't. I just reposted them. So I don't know what happened. I don't know if because they're just not there that they were just taken down. I don't know. But here's the thing. This is what makes me mad, okay? And you're going to hear me say this over and over as we go through these files. The one thing about this that I'm hearing that I don't like, as a matter of fact, it's not just that I don't like it, I'm furious about it, is I hear people, and this is even coming out of the mouths of Christian people, who I hold, as a Christian person, I hold us to a higher standard. I hear people saying, okay, this is horrible, blah, 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 shocked, appalled, whatever, breakdown. And then I hear you saying, but nothing is going to happen. Like, nobody's going to go to jail. Nobody's going to be prosecuted. But, nothing's going to happen. Jesus is I get that Jesus is the only one that can change things. I get this. Okay. You don't have to tell me this. I get it. But what I don't understand is I don't understand your lack of fight. I don't understand your lackadaisical attitude. Oh, well. And you're saying, I don't understand how you say out of one side of your mouth, you quote a scripture, life and death is in the power of the tongue. And then the other side of your mouth is like, oh, well, these horrible things are happening in the world. But, oh, guys, nothing's going to happen. You know why nothing's going to happen? Because you're not doing anything. That's why. So how are you going to be a man or woman of faith and tell me that, God is all of this, and then you're going to say we are powerless? I think you don't know who you serve, and I don't think you understand what your responsibility is. Because I want to ask you, I was reading this. Actually, it was a thing from Facebook or something. I don't even know. Somebody's profile said this. If you are, and it didn't even have anything to do with Epstein. This was about another political thing. Okay. But it says if your preacher does not mention, is not talking about this, other incident. Okay, we're going to take out what it was, but it was very important. If your pastor is not talking about this, then you're following a coward. I thought about that. I thought, take out that incident, insert Epstein. Because I don't care what side of politics you're on. I don't care if you're a Democrat or if you're a Republican. They're eating babies. They are eating children. And I want to tell you something. If your leaders are not addressing this, you're following cowards. And I don't care whose hide it chaps for me to say that. I've been unwelcomed in more places than I've been welcomed. And another one is not going to hurt my feelings any more than any of the last ones have. So if you have an issue with me, then take it up with me. But I will not back down on that, sir. I will not. Because if you are too much of a coward to say it, then I will. It's wrong. And you have people in your congregation that are walking around shell-shocked and they don't know what to do. And nobody is saying that you need to stand up and say, this is wrong. And you need to shout it from the rooftops, and you need to do whatever you have to do to stop supporting the people, whether it's your films or your music or whatever. You need to stand up and say, I'm not supporting any of this. Whether it's the government, whoever. Stop supporting the people who are eating our children. That's how simple it is. That's it. It's that simple. Take a stand for something, for God's sake, you cowards. Because these other people, they don't seem to have a problem with snatching your children and doing the worst kind of vile things. But yet, you're going to sit there and have the audacity to come online and say, well, there's nothing we can do about it. Jesus is the only one. Yeah, Jesus expects you to open your cowardly mouth and say something and get off your cowardly rear end and do something. Move your cowardly feet and make a difference on this planet. That's what he expects you to do. But you have the audacity to sit there and believe maybe it won't make a difference. Maybe you'll lose every friend you got. Well, you know what? I don't have to answer to you. I don't have to answer to anybody. You know who I have to answer to? I'm not standing before him. I'm not standing before him and trying to explain why I was a coward on this earth. Explain to him why I let this happen and I didn't say anything. That's who I'm afraid of. Is it pleasant to lose your friends and your family and everything? No, it's not. But guess what? I've lost them before over lesser things. How can you live in your own skin? I have to sleep at night. My God. I'm just saying. The more I see, even the Christians on here saying, there's nothing we can do about it. See, I hear this, two things. And I understand. I understand the people who are being paid or the people who are shell-shocked or whatever, just they don't know what to do. So they're saying there's nothing we can do about it. I get that. You're walking around in a fog and you're saying, well, what can we do? We can't do anything about it. Okay, you haven't gotten there yet. You're like the lady said, you're not angry enough. You're not angry enough yet. But see, I have 10 years to be angry. 10 years of anger building. I'm angry enough. Oh, buddy, I'm angry enough. Sure am. But I understand the second voice, okay? They're like, okay, we know these Epstein files have come out, We're going to do damage control. We know people are shocked, but we're going to put this other voice in their ear. We're going to control the narrative and say, okay, it's horrible, but we can't do anything. You can't do anything. It's all going to blow over, and you're going to know, but you're not going to do anything because you can't do anything because it's too big, and you can't do anything. Let's program the people to say you can't do anything, but it's a lie. You can do something. We started this whole freaking country by dumping tea in the harbor over taxes. Over taxes. We dumped the tea and we said, we're not doing it. We started a revolution with tea. With tea. And here we are. But you're telling me they're eating our children. But we can't do anything all of a sudden. 200 years later, we don't know how to do anything. Excuse me? Pardon me. What kind of people have we become? The people who dumped the tea, that was so much less. Taxation without representation. They weren't eating your children back then. It was just taxation without representation, and we were all tore up about it. But you're telling me we're going to listen to the voices, the powers that be that say, oh, yeah, that's terrible. We can't do anything about it. It's too big. Watch us. Watch us. Just watch us. Because if enough people break out of that mindset and say no, say, watch me. Watch me stop supporting you. Watch me stop consuming. Watch me say no. Watch me say, no. No to both sides. No to the red and blue. Screw all y'all. All of Hollywood. All everybody. Watch us. Do y'all have enough? Is there enough inside you to do that? Because I don't know. But there needs to be. Because what happens next? What happens if you don't rise up now? If you don't stand up now, what happens next? I'm just saying. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of me doing this. Because you're going to hear this a lot. Epstein files, a lot of people are going through them. I can sit here and go through them. I don't have to go through them live. I don't have to go through and do videos with them. But I want us, you and me, I want us to have a conversation. And I want us, because I want to be like these other creators that are saying, this is terrible. There's nothing we can do. Because I'm saying, oh, by God, there is something we can do. I'm mad. And I want you to be mad. I want us to look in here. I want us to see. I want us all to be mad and say, we're not going to do this. That's the point. That's the point. Not reporting the news. The point is, I want you to feel that fire inside and say, I'm done. I'm done with listening to you, and I'm done believing your lies. Okay? All right. I'm done. All right. Who's your you know what? I agree with you. I'm very Christian, but I agree with you on that point. I do. I get wound up sometimes, Smoky Mountain Robin. All right. Please, y'all, don't ever believe that you can't do anything. That is where they have us, okay? That's where they have us. All they have to do is convince us that we can't do anything about it. and it's over. But it's not over as long as we say no. No. And we stop the consuming. I'm going to tell you something. You hit people in their pocketbooks. That's where you hit people, in their pocketbooks. All right. All right. I'm just getting started on this. I'm just getting started. We'll go through other stuff and you're going to hear me say this over and over. All right. Yes, I agree. I agree. Go to your city council meetings, your school board meetings. You do everything. Look, I'm just going to say this: any kind of social media, any kind of make noise somewhere, anywhere, everywhere. Tell whomever. Everybody's got a Facebook. Most people have a Facebook. Put it on there. Just stand up. Say something. Say something somewhere. Of like, we're not taking this. No. The main thing is to motivate people and make them understand this isn't over because they say we can't do anything. It's not over. Okay, we're just getting started. All right. Nancy Drew, good. Yeah, replay. All right, I will see y'all later. I'm going to have to stop for now. I am going to find some yes, join your yeah, become a PI. Look, keep tabs on everything. There's a ton of things. We're going to be talking a lot about stuff. We are going to be digging in the files. It'll probably be in the evenings after work because I work during the day usually. I'm just off today. I'm off today and mad at what's going on. So here you go. This is my rant. I'll either be doing videos or live streams. So I will talk to you later. Stay safe out there. Be aware. Stay vigilant. Don't give up hope because I believe in change. I believe we can do something. If I didn't believe it, I would not waste my time. All right. Whatever you do, just stay silky, y'all. Bye-bye.